It's a device that I've been excited to review for some time now, even though from a specifications perspective, it's not the highest end Android device on the market. I'm Aaron Baker from PhoneDog.com, and at $180, the Moto G is one of the best things Android has going for it right now because it brings really reasonable specifications to an incredible unlocked price point. Let's find out more about Motorola's newest smartphone, the Moto G, in the full video review. I wanted to spend a little bit of extra time with this device before giving it the full video review because there's a lot to like about the Moto G. The price point is obviously a big one, but also the specifications you get for that price point. There are a ton of use cases that I see for the Moto G, be it a replacement device for you, be it a great smartphone for emerging markets, be it for somebody perhaps that's new to smartphone space and wants something that's not too crazy in terms of specifications, but something that gets the job done. There's a lot to like here, and for $179, it's the best deal in town right now. I mean, you've got the Moto G here. Specs-wise, you're looking at some pretty rocking specs all around. It's got 1 GB of RAM. It's got a 2070 milliamp hour battery. It's got a 5 megapixel camera on the back, so it's not going to be anything that competes by any means with the Note 3, with the Galaxy S4, with the HTC One. Those are in a different category, and rightfully so. They should be in a different category. The Moto G is intended for quite a few different purposes for the markets, emerging markets perhaps. It's intended for people as replacement devices, people that want an affordable smartphone that don't want to compromise on features. They want something that's got decent features that makes it through the day, but still is a great price point, and that's where the Moto G comes in. This device has customization, has personalization, and it brings a price point starting at $179. You can get a higher end version for $199 that packs, instead of 8 gigabytes of internal storage, 16 gigabytes of internal storage. But overall tech specs here, jumping kind of back to that, you're looking at some decent specifications all around. 1.2 gigahertz quad-core Snapdragon 400 CPU, like I said, 1 gigabyte of RAM. It's got a 4.5-inch 720p HD display. So again, I'm going to mention the price point a lot in this video review, but $180 for a device with a 720p HD display unlocked without a contract. 5 megapixel camera, like I said, 2070 milliamp hour battery, 1 gigabyte of RAM. And what I like is that even at this price point, Motorola is allowing for some customization, some personalization. While the phone does ship in black, you can add customized back plates here, back covers rather. You can add customized cases for additional costs. These are $14.99. Certain cases you can get from them are $29.99. So you've got a lot of different choices here, and this thing is packing Android 4.3 with a commitment to be upgraded to Android 4.4 KitKat in the not too distant future. Special thanks to Motorola for giving us the review unit. Special thanks to Best Buy Mobile as well for hooking us up with free devices that we give to you for free at PhoneDog.com. When you walk into Best Buy Mobile, you'll walk out working. So if you get the G or maybe the Moto X even, you'll walk out working. Your email, your web, your contacts will be set up, so when you walk out the door, you're not spending the time doing that, thanks to Best Buy Mobile's walkout working program. But let's take a quick look at the device itself here. Now, from a design perspective, you're going to see a lot of similarities to the Moto X. I mean, in terms of the curvature, very similar. In terms of the button placement, very similar as well. Power button on the right spine, volume rocker on the right spine. Moto X is a little bit thinner. You do see a little bit more of a curve with the Moto G, but again, overall design language very similar here. 3.5 millimeter headphone jack up top, micro USB charging port down here at the bottom. You've got that indented Motorola logo here on the back, and you've got your camera up top. Your speaker is on the left side, and like I said, these back covers, you can change these out and pick up your own custom color for $14.99. Motorola was kind enough to send over the blue one, which I'm a fan of blue. Actually, if you talk to my wife, she says blue is my favorite color, even though I tell people green is my favorite color. She's like, you always pick blue stuff, so blue has to be your favorite color, so she might be right with that. One thing to point out, non-removable battery here. The cover does come off to reveal the micro SIM card slot, but a non-removable battery on this device, and like I said, it's 2070 milliamp hours, again, $179, not a bad battery for what you're getting for the money. 4.5-inch display, and when you look at this in comparison to the Moto X's display, just kind of comparing these two side by side, we'll have a full dogfight on this, so don't worry, we'll get everything covered, but you do see obviously a slightly smaller display here. 4.5 inches, still perfectly large for a lot of different people. Your on-screen buttons here, and Android 4.3 running on this unit. You can see here 4.3, typical stuff here. We're going to settings just to take a look. You got a relatively vanilla version of Jelly Bean running on this device. You got your apps, your widgets, very similar to the experience on the Moto X as well, including things like Motorola Assist, where we can come in here, for example, and set up meetings and sleeping. So Assist is great because I can come in here and say, hey, for meetings, I can choose my actions and say, hey, it's going to take a look at my calendar. If I've got a meeting at 1 o'clock, for example, and I hit this, it's going to silence my phone at 1 o'clock so it doesn't go off while it's in the meeting. sleeping, and of course I have the auto reply option as well. Sleeping is a great one too because it'll silence the phone except for very important calls, and you can come in here and customize those settings. When a favorite calls, for example, your mom, your dad, your wife, your spouse, significant other, brother, sister, whoever you have designated as a favorite, or when someone calls twice, you can enable that as well. So you've got some nice options here to keep the phone quiet, but if somebody calls twice, it's an emergency, you can unlock that feature. You can have that feature turned off where it will ring through. I should point out no LTE connectivity on this device, but again, keeping in mind the price point, not a bad device at all. You've still got Motorola stuff as well, Motorola Assist, Motorola Migrate. You got, of course, the Google integration here with Google services as you would expect, Google Plus. You've got Moto Care on this device as well. And then you got voice actions up here via Google as well. So I can use those to customize and personalize my search. But you can see, of course, 3G running up there right now. I have an AT&T SIM card in this device, as you can see. So overall, really a similar experience, again, as the Moto X, but keeping in mind the price point, really nice here. Unlocked, no contract, $179 for the 8GB version, $199 for the 16GB version. Now let's take a look here at the browser as well. You're running 3G here and a 4.5-inch display, so we'll take a quick look here and we'll load up PhoneDog. You can see the keyboard here, very similar to what you get on the X. PhoneDog.com, a stock version of the Android keyboard. We'll go into PhoneDog and take a look, and I should point out as well, you have the swipe functionality, or swipe-like functionality as well. Search for bandages on Google. Search for bandages because this deal's so sick, it's going to be a sick burn. My jokes, it's midweek, guys. Give me a break here. The jokes are not as good as they could be. But you can see here PhoneDog.com loaded up, and again, very fast, little to no lag here, 1GB of RAM, that quad-core processor. It is a Snapdragon 400 and it's 1.2 gigahertz, but still pretty zippy all around in basic tasks like that. Of course, messaging here as well. You've got your messaging interface. Load it up, take a look. Transitions between portrait and landscape reasonably fast. And I can say the quick brown fox is ready for Thursday. He's not ready for Friday, he's ready for Thursday. I thought I'd mix up and change it around there. 4.5-inch display is going to be nice for a lot of different people because, hey, it's pocketable enough. But 4.5 is reasonably large. It's larger than the iPhone. It's larger than some of the 4.3-inch options on the market. So it brings a reasonable size to the Moto G. So you can see there, of course, recent applications down here as well. I've got my back button and I've got my home button, which I can press and hold to access Google Now. Keep it locked on PhoneDog.com for part 2 of the video review of the Moto G. We're going to continue on, talk a little bit about how it works in terms of software, the integration between that and, of course, the hardware on this device, and then we'll wrap it up with some camera tests and more. Keep it locked right here for part 2 of the Moto G full video review.